Hello and welcome on in to Hatfield Ice in Colmar, PA. We've got a good one for you. Actually, two good ones here today. It's a doubleheader for North Park's 18U Diamond 2 EJEPL team. And they're facing the Diamond 2 Genesis Hockey Club. Genesis comes in with a 20-11-0 record. You heard that right. They have played 31 games already this season. And recent games include a 13-0 win over the Campus Wild 18U single A team, a loss to the Richmond Generals. Seems like everybody's losing to the Richmond Generals these days. A loss to the New York Stars by a score of 2-9. A loss to the Kings, 0-4, but a win over the Long Island Edge, 4-2. Very similar to North Park's result against the Edge, and wins over the Pelham Pelicans, Hollydale Hurricanes, to round out the most recent games. And as such, this ought to be a good one. Of course, North Park coming off its win at World Ice last weekend against the Edge. And so we will get set here today. Two games. First one's at 11:20. And the back half of the doubleheader kicks off at 3 p.m. They'll both be right here on Midnight Sports. Now, if you're looking for that 3 p.m. game, you will have to refresh the general Midnight Sports page to find it. It will be at a different link than this one, but on the same Midnight Sports YouTube page, so you should be set and ready to go so long as you can find that page. In any event, 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go on the warm-up countdown timer. You are watching Midnight Sports.
This broadcast is streamed and produced by Midnight Sports and is not affiliated with any hockey organization, club, or team. Midnight Sports is comprised of hockey parents who stream games for friends and family who cannot attend the games in person.
Buzzer about to go here at Hatfield Ice to signal the end of the warm-up period. There it is. And a reminder, North Park back in action next weekend against the New York Stars, hoping to join back up with the head honcho, the man, the myth, the legend, who started Midnight Sports, D-Biz, on that broadcast. That'll be out at Aviator, I believe, 6 p.m. next Saturday. Midnight Sports with all the coverage of that North Park Stars game. And then North Park hosts the New York City Cyclones out at World Ice, 7:30 p.m. next Sunday. And Midnight Sports should have all the action for you for that one, too, subject to carrier restrictions. If it's youth hockey, it's Midnight Sports. All right, 25 on the clock. A reminder, this is an EJEPL game, and it might seem like alphabet soup to you, but what it means to us is two 25-minute halves here from Hatfield Ice. If the score's tied at the end of those halves, goes to overtime, does the game. 4-on-4, 5-minute overtime. Beyond that, it is 3-on-3 5-minute overtime. 4-on-4, 5 minutes. 3-on-3, 5 minutes. Sudden death overtime. If tied at the end of all of that, the teams split the points because this is a regular season EJEPL showdown. And so, obviously, it would be different in the playoffs. Need to have a victor in any event. Looks like game one will see Bo Bickoff in net. He of the excellent game against the Edge last Sunday that led to North Park with the EJEPL, LIAHL, and Tier 2 victory all in one game. So it was a triple dipper for North Park. All right, just a little bit of last-minute strategy going on at the benches. And the net, as this will be, North Park in their road blue and green jerseys. Can be a little confusing because Genesis also has green as its secondary color, but they'll be in the white sweaters, moving right to left on your television screen or radio dial if you're just listening in. Can't quite zoom any farther than we have. We've got the old bugaboo, the white net in front of us, but thankfully it's a white net, not a black net, so the camera can be zoomed in just a little bit as opposed to having to be zoomed all the way out. Just a little behind the scenes there for you from Hatfield Ice. In any event, 25 on the board. About to kick off the first half here from Colmar, PA. Over the boards comes Greben, Meller, Finkelstein, Tanoff, and Halpern as the 5 in blue to get us kicked off here from rural PA. Goalies checked, scorekeeper checked, centerman ready. And we have puck drop here in Pennsylvania. It's Genesis taking that face-off win forward. They'll gain the line and dump in. All the way around the puck goes. Halpern first to it. Halpern works that puck up and out. And now it's Greben in a foot race into the offensive end with his Genesis counterpart. Genesis looks to get the puck out of the zone, but it was Tanoff able to throw it to some open ice. And tracking back for it is Greben in the offensive end on the forehand side of the cage. Pushed to the corner is Greben. He's got 2 men on him. North Park buzzing, though, in the offensive end. It was Tanoff trying to work that puck up to the point. It hit a stick, and here comes Genesis back in the other direction. First to it is Halpern. He's going to pick it up in stride, carry it around his net, work it up the far side of the ice. Stopped there by Greben, who flicks it farther, can go for a line change. And it's Tanoff finding the puck, getting it across center ice and dumping in. So it's a partial change now for North Park, but it's the old Genesis home run pass. Look out, it's a partial break. And it's going to be a hook there on Keyworth once this puck is touched up. But it was Keyworth who was able to stop the breakaway shot. And we'll get our first stoppage in play as the captain will go to the box for hooking. 1 minute and 6 seconds into this one, but prevented the all-alone look in front of the net as the official gesturing to the North Park bench as to why hooking was called. It was because the stick was turned, pointed down toward the ice. So an easier call to make, but of course, Keyworth preventing the look for the Genesis forward off the off. In any event, it's North Park winning that faceoff, sending it all the way down, and Genesis will have to collect behind their net. 1:51 left to go on the man advantage here as Genesis has the puck. They try to skate out with it, but it's Tenenbaum able to fire a shot just wide of the cage on the penalty kill. Vigliotti has the other forward out there with him, joined by Klochek and Halpern as the defenders. North Park down a couple of skaters here today, and so you're going to hear a lot of the same names on this broadcast. It's Tenenbaum on the forecheck, trying to take the puck off his man. That's going to be an interference call there at the offensive blue line. Vigliotti was upended, and it was a hit on Vigliotti. We're going to have some 4-on-4 action coming up here once the interference call is made. It is for 1 minute and 26 seconds at 23:20. 4-on-4 hockey, and then a very abbreviated North Park power play upcoming thereafter. Stub end of that power play should be 34 seconds, assuming no farther paperwork is coming. It's Meller at the dot. Klochek and Halpern behind him. Greben as the fourth skater on the ice. 4-on-4 hockey. 1 there by Genesis, 2 that far corner. And it'll be Genesis skating the puck up and out of their zone. A lot of ice out there in 4-on-4 hockey for the players to utilize. It's Klochek able to get stick on puck initially. Genesis comes to the side of the cage. Around they come. They work it up to the point. They fire in. That shot goes high and wide of the cage. Genesis to pick up on the near half wall. They work it up to the blue line once more. They'll fire in once more. And that puck gloved and stopped by Bo Bickoff. And so the first shot on goal comes from a Genesis stick. And the first save comes from Bickoff. Big number 4 between the pipes for North Park. This is Finkelstein at the far dot. Got Samosi, Tanoff, and Halpern out there with him. Genesis takes that win. They fire it high and wide of the cage from the top of the slot. It's Halpern now collecting behind his own net. Halpern's got Tanoff in front of Bickoff. Halpern will skate out on the far side of the ice. He turns. Possession game, of course, is crucial in 4-on-4 hockey with all that ice out there. It's North Park softly dumping in. Samosi gives chase on the forecheck. Puck racked to the near side of the ice, picked up by Tanoff, fired wide of the cage. He was looking for a deflection, but Genesis able to get to the puck first on that far side. Tanoff nearly picks that pass off. Instead, it'll be Genesis back in the other direction. Mini 2-on-1 here, fired in. Bickoff able to just get down and glove it. And so a shot on goal for Genesis, but nothing more just yet. With 22:10 left to go here in the first half. Happy Sunday morning to you. It was a beautiful November morning when we drove into the rink. It'll be no surprise to see perhaps it's raining a little bit later here on the East Coast. But we can't thank you enough for spending your Sunday morning here with us, as it looks like North Park being told they can't make the line change there on the face-off, as they were too late in doing it. Of course, the home team gets the last change, and so the officials calling it very tightly to start this one off. Anyway, it's Genesis firing in, and once more Bickoff with the glove save, and we'll do it all over again near side of the ice. 3 shots on goal. Still 9 seconds left to go here on the 4-on-4, and this time North Park will be able to make the change. They'll get Tenenbaum out there, joined by Halpern, Meller, and Grebin. 3 forwards on the ice here for North Park. It's Tenenbaum taking that face-off win of Meller and working it on up. He's going to find Grebin, who's able to dump that puck on in. 5-on-4 hockey here for North Park now, without possession of the puck, but it's Tenenbaum able to pick up that puck at the near point, work it down lower toward Keyworth, back from Meller. Still North Park. It's filtered toward Keyworth, fired in off the crossbar into the netting. And so it doesn't go down as a shot on goal because it hit the pipe. But still, closest North Park has come to the back of the net so far early on in this game. Still 20 seconds left to go on the man advantage for the visitors. It'll be Meller at the dot. That was a nice move there from Coach Raynar to get 3 forwards on the ice in the 4-on-4. He knew that the 4-on-4 was expiring, and so he got his 3 forwards out there. It's Grebin shooting just high of the cage. This will be Tenenbaum. Picking that puck up in the near corner, works it up to Halpern again. Halpern steps all the way across toward Keyworth. Keyworth, far side of the ice, works his way to the slot, then works it back over to Halpern, back to the bumper, and Grebin fired in, and it's saved nicely by the Genesis goaltender. And look out, back to 5-on-5 hockey, but this time it was a pass picked off by North Park momentarily on the home run try by Genesis. Halpern, good stick work in his own zone. Shot comes in, Bickoff sticks it aside. Genesis now warming to the task. Early on in this game, it's Halpern to pick up in his own corner. Near side, works it up to Keyworth. And Keyworth over to Tenenbaum. Tenenbaum on the puck, skates past a man. Look out, on the backhand, comes in, tries to go 5-hole, takes 1 shot and 2. But the net comes off its moorings, and so a couple of visitor shots and a home side shot. But nothing doing just yet elsewhere on the scoreboard. It'll be an offensive zone draw for North Park. Bigliotti, Sweeney, Tanoff, Klocek, and Samosi. Samosi to take the drop near side of the ice. And puck comes all the way around the Genesis net, but Samosi first to it on the far half wall. Bouncing puck chipped farther by Genesis, and they look to collect in the neutral zone. Does the home team. They do all the way across. It was Tanoff stepping into a man there. Genesis will have to reset in the neutral zone. It's Samosi on the forecheck. Genesis with the puck. They filter it up and all the way in to the offensive end. They try to jam it on Bickoff, but he had the stick ready, and now North Park escapes the zone. It's kicked right back in by Genesis, and so This will be North Park emerging with it eventually. It'll be Sweeney all the way across the ice. Dumps into the offensive end. Puck still rolling. It's a delayed offside here as Keyworth takes over in the neutral zone. Keyworth settles the puck down, works it back to Tanoff. Tanoff on up. That puck chipped up into the netting off a stick, and so we get a stoppage in play with 20:08 left to go here in the first. Not sure if we started the clock up here on the broadcast a little too early or perhaps forgot to shut it off. In any event, it is 20 minutes and 8 seconds left to go here in the first half. This is Meller at the neutral zone dot. Wins it back to Tanoff, who threads the needle and works that puck in, but just a bit offside. And so with 20:04 left to go here in the first half, it'll be another neutral zone drop near side of the ice. Meller once again at the dot. Finkelstein to his right, Grebin to his left. Puck drop there, and it's North Park able to work that into the offensive end. Genesis resets far side of the ice. Through the neutral zone comes the home team. They gain the line and dump in. Now it's a puck that comes over to the near corner where Genesis looks to pick it up. Tanoff and Meller combining to work that over to Halpern. Halpern on the puck, works it all the way across the ice. Genesis will have to pick up at their own blue line, now in their own zone. Genesis harassed there by Finkelstein, gloved out of the air at first by North Park. Genesis emerges in the neutral zone. It's still Genesis working that puck forward. Tanoff is able to step into one. Finkelstein frees it up for Grebin. Grebin on the puck, turns at the half wall. Sent deeper for Meller. Nice drop pass fired across to Finkelstein. And it was Halpern looking to tuck home the rebound. Instead, the save went to the corner. North Park trying to get this puck on a North Park stick, but instead it'll be Genesis. Partial break, 2-on-1 all the way in, and it was the Ice Monster that got the puck first, and Bickoff happy to jump on top of it. So just a shot aside for each team there, and a defensive zone draw upcoming for North Park. Now it was a dangerous play as that puck filtered across the neutral zone, and the pass connected to the Genesis man, but he just couldn't pull the trigger as the ice gobbled up that puck, and Bickoff jumped right on top of it. Now it's Keyworth turning in that far corner, trying to work the puck up and out is Tenenbaum, and he does. Samosi in his own mini break here. It's Samosi in all alone, tries to softly split the 5-hole, but it was saved by the Genesis man. It was a nice shot from Rafi Samosi, but the Genesis netminder was equal to the task, and then Genesis puts it up into the netting out of their own end. So we get another stoppage in play with 18:41 left to go here in the first half. Offensive zone draw upcoming for the team from Long Island City. This is Keyworth and Klochek at the blue line. Tenenbaum, Samosi, and Sweeney as the forwards. Tenenbaum to take the drop. Wins it to himself, fires in, and it's saved by the Genesis netminder. And so we'll do it all over again at the near circle with just a few seconds gone off the clock. Tenenbaum once more. Wins that over toward the half wall. Genesis first to it. They fire it up and out of the zone. Genesis leaves the zone quickly, all the way into the offensive end. It's Klochek turning his man toward the corner. Shot goes off the side of the cage, picked up there by Samosi. Genesis has it in front of the camera well. They fire in wide of the cage once more. Sweeney across, and he's able to chip that puck up and out. And now it was Samosi who nearly sprung on a headman pass by Tenenbaum. Instead, it's Genesis coming back in the other direction. Genesis all the way across. They love that pass from the near half wall all the way across the slot. But this time it's Tenenbaum picking up the puck in the offensive end, joined by Samosi in a 2-on-1. Tries to fire it across. Puck hits a skate, and then it's cleared up and out of the zone by Genesis once more. Getting back is Tanoff to jam up any zone break-in by Genesis. They reset, does the home team. Genesis at their own blue line. They work it across near side of the ice. It hits the boards. Tanoff able to fire it off the boards, leaves it for Grebin. Grebin shooting in. That hits a skate and goes wide. It's now North Park sending that puck just a bit deeper. Fired it, shot it, scored! Well, it looks like it was Vigliotti who picked up the loose change, and he was able to find the side of the net from a screen position and shoot and score. And you can see the reaction there from the crowd. Going wild with 17 and a half left to go here in the opening half from Hatfield Ice. It's North Park 1, Genesis nothing. Bigliotti, the goal scorer, taking that face-off win, working it forward, and then Genesis sends it toward the North Park end. But now Bigliotti pulls the pass out of the air. Genesis will have to collect at their own blue line. They do, but they can't make it past Tanoff, so they reset in their own end. Puck pulled out of the air, fired in by Bigliotti. It's a delayed offside, though, and so Genesis will wait for North Park to tag up. It's Genesis coming all the way through the neutral zone now into the offensive end. Soft shot in on Bickoff, swiped aside. Halpern able to nudge it over to the near corner. Tanoff able to lay the wood on a Genesis player there, and Genesis just dumps in. Halpern leans on a man behind the net. He's helped there by Meller. Halpern up to Bigliotti. Bigliotti works it up to the point, fired in. 2 saves on the sequence for Bickoff. And a defensive zone draw upcoming after the bow freeze in the North Park end. 16:39 remaining to go here in the first half. Speed of the game picking up just a little bit after the North Park goal. Genesis looking to strike right back. It's Tenenbaum at the dot. Works it to his end boards. Keyworth in for support. Genesis over in the near corner. They'll cycle to themselves, and it'll be Klochek first to that puck, trying to feather it up and out of the zone. Genesis side of the cage. Look out. Bickoff able to seal the post and make the save. Genesis tries to throw it in front once more. North Park on it, though. Klochek works it up to the near point. It's dumped in once more by Genesis. It's Genesis all over the puck on that far side, and they'll dump in again, but Tenenbaum tries to fire it up and out of the zone. Too many players in the way right now. Bouncing puck eventually carried out. It's Keyworth in a race for the puck. He's 1-on-2 into the offensive end, and a pass at the blue line connects from Sweeney over toward Finkelstein. Sweeney to pick up that puck. He finds Finkelstein once more. Finkelstein for Sweeney behind the cage. Instead, though, this will be Genesis emerging with the puck all the way into the neutral zone comes Genesis. Puck bobbled by a few players there on each team, and so North Park able to pick up and send that just a bit farther. Bouncing puck comes in on Bickoff, and he kicks it aside. Keyworth to pick up, jams it around on the far side of the ice. Gets the pass back from Klochek. It's Genesis trying to emerge with the puck in front. Bickoff throws the big right leg pad out, makes a huge save there. He's able to save the puck and kick the net off its moorings and buy a face-off. And so Bickoff keeping this a 1-goal hockey game after the shot from out front by Genesis. Now it'll be Tanoff, Meller, Samosi, Halpern, and Bigliotti as the 5 skaters for North Park. Meller wins that over toward the slot. Genesis tries to pour farther, but Halpern cuts out the threat, and Samosi is able to get it up to the Genesis blue line. Now North Park trying to filter that puck just a bit farther forward. It hits a skate, sits under the camera well, and Meller emerges with it. He finds Samosi in full stride. Samosi up the left wing, gains the offensive end, tries to pull it from out of the skates of the official, gets it back from Bigliotti, but the bouncing puck eventually captured from Genesis, or by Genesis, I should say, who gains the line and dumps on in. Tanoff in the near corner, trying to get that puck up to Samosi. He does. The breakout's on. Bigliotti picks it up at his own blue line. Bigliotti across the logo into the offensive end. Able to pour that puck farther, comes to the side of the cage, all the way to the end boards. Now he was looking for Meller out front. It'll be North Park capturing the puck at the far point. Fired in, kicked aside on a deflection by the Genesis goaltender. Meller now jousting in the far corner for the puck. Comes away with it, filters it up to Bigliotti. Bigliotti at the blue line. Drop pass connects, and it's sent on down by Halpern, but this one hits a skate, so Halpern will track back for it and pick up the puck, send it on over to Tanoff. Tanoff finds Grebin in the offensive end. He tries to swipe it farther. It functions as a drop pass, and now Tanoff has the puck back near circle, fired all the way across the blue paint. Genesis to pick up far side of the ice. It's Sweeney who's able to jam that puck up in the neutral zone. Genesis now has it back at the logo. Here they come, 2-on-1 into the offensive end. Getting back after Halpern had made a nice defensive play was Tanoff to make it a 2-on-2. Genesis will have to reset once more. Puck ping-ponging around right now. It's Tenenbaum trying to pick it up near side of the ice as North Park was in the midst of a change. It's now Genesis skating with some speed toward the offensive end, but it was cut out by Klochek. And it's Tenenbaum all the way across, sticks it back to Keyworth, who's going to find Grebin toward the offensive end. Icing already waved here. Grebin must have gotten a touch on it. And so Genesis sends this all the way down the ice, and it's Bickoff settling the puck for Keyworth. Keyworth on up, looking for Klochek. Genesis to pick up in the neutral zone. They stalk into the offensive end. They fire in. That puck's still loose. It was a Bickoff save, and it was cleared out by Keyworth. Now Genesis can step into that, and another Bickoff save comes high off the end boards. Genesis able to keep the puck in the zone. Picked up, though, quickly by Keyworth, who sends it up to the blue line. Puck rebounds back to Klochek, and it hit a linesman's skate, and it was Grebin who was waiting. It would have been a mini break there. Instead, it was Genesis able to pick up the puck, and so now North Park resets in their own end. Long pass finds Meller, who's one-on-one with his man into the offensive end, waiting for Finkelstein to track toward that back post. He was, but the passing lane had been cut off, so now Tanoff can step into a shot. That goes off a shin guard and goes wide, and so Samosi dumps in for Finkelstein. Finkelstein throws it out front. Genesis first to it. Bouncing puck, swept all the way up and out of the zone by Genesis. They'll come back in the other direction, only so far as Tanoff and Halper. Genesis resets. They go point to point in their own zone. Puck then sent all the way up, but off. Again, a shin guard. This time it was Meller who prevented the chance, and Tanoff is 2-on-2 into the offensive end. Pushed wide, carries it all the way to the corner, gets upended there, can't get a call. Still North Park with the puck. Oh, Finkelstein takes an elbow up high, and the puck goes out of the zone. And no call coming against Genesis. So it'll be a face-off in the offensive end for North Park. That's all, with 11:35 left to go in this first half. A reminder, it's a doubleheader today here from Hatfield Ice. Game 2 at 3 p.m. All the coverage right here on Midnight Sports. And don't forget, feel free to switch between 2 live games right now. The New York Stars taking on Nassau County Lions, also on Midnight Sports, just a different YouTube link. All you have to do is refresh the page, hit the live tab, and you'll see we've got a triple header on Midnight Sports here today. It's a double header for North Park, but 3 live games right here on Midnight Sports. In any event, it's Genesis trying to get a shot off, nearly were net front. That shot, though, went wide of the cage, and now Halpern able to put his shoulder into a man and work the puck over to Keyworth. It was a pass that didn't quite connect for Grebin. North Park would have been off to the races, but the passing lane made it as difficult as possible. And so this will be an icing call on North Park. It was a great idea by Keyworth. Nearly sprung Grebin. Instead, though, pass had to be just out of his reach. Otherwise, the puck would have stayed in the zone. And so it functioned as a clearance. Nothing more there for the visitors. This is Tenenbaum at the dot. Puck tied up at the dot. Genesis will take over in the far corner. It's Genesis on the puck, trying to cycle it deeper. It comes off the dasher, finds a Genesis stick near side of the ice, sent over toward Klochek, who has a man or two draped on him now, as Grebin able to settle that puck down at his own blue line, sends it across for Vigliotti. Vigliotti, the difference in this game right now, as he carries it in the offensive end, sent all the way across. It was Grebin looking for Tenenbaum, nearly had him all alone at the back post, and now it'll be Keyworth, able to filter that puck just a bit farther, but here comes North Park. Look out. It's North Park on the wrister, and Bickoff gets a glove on that puck to send it just wide. North Park trying to get up and out of the zone. They do. And Genesis able to get stick on puck to prevent any scoring chance from the visitors. It's now Genesis right back into the offensive end, in all alone, but it was Halpern, long reach, able to take the puck off his man long enough to prevent the shot. We're going to get a stoppage here, though, as the North Park net once again came off its moorings with 10 minutes even left to go in an entertaining first half. End-to-end action here. Still just a 1-goal game separated by the Lorenzo Vigliotti shot for North Park. And so we'll have a defensive zone draw here after the whistle went. North Park net had come off its anchors. It's Tanoff and Halpern as the defenders. Meller, Finkelstein, and Sweeney as the forwards. Genesis chips that puck forward off the faceoff. Tanoff surrounds a man there. It's Meller in for support. Genesis comes away with the puck. Top of the near circle. They try to get toward the slot. They fire in. Bickoff kicks the shot aside, and now Sweeney tries to get that puck up and out of the zone. Bouncing puck, top of the far circle, fired in. Bickoff all the way across, and he nods it into his glove for the freeze. So just a shot on goal by Genesis. Nothing more. We've got a 12-11 on our board here. It's 12-7 on the board in the rink, both in Genesis's favor. And we'd say that's probably a fair approximation so far for how the game has gone, relatively even. But it's Tenenbaum sent out of the face-off circle. Unclear of whether it was one of his teammates encroaching. But the puck's dropped and fired in on Bickoff, who's going to cover it up again. And so with 9:34 in the first half left to go, we will do it all over again, far side of the ice. Now that puck's dropped, one by North Park, filtered up to the far half wall. Genesis takes over. Genesis top of the slot. One-timer cut out by Samosi. Rolling puck to the near corner. Halpern with a little time now to work it to the far side of the ice. And that puck does leave the zone. It's a delayed offside here on Genesis, which gives North Park time to send it to the near side and dump on in off Tenenbaum's stick. Giving chase now is Grebin. He meets a man there at the end boards. That puck sent all the way around. Tanoff had pinched in. And the deflection on the puck carries it up into the Genesis bench, which will give North Park a chance to make a change if it wants to. And it'll be a neutral zone drop. A judge to have come off a North Park stick, I suppose, into the Genesis bench. And so 9:26 left to go. We'll let our clocks get right here. But this will be Halpern working it over to Tanoff. Tanoff dumps in. Goes off a skate all the way to the far corner. And then it's Genesis unable to get the puck out of the zone at first try. But they do eventually. And so Halpern all the way back to his own end to pick up. And it's Halpern reversing for Tanoff. Tanoff off the glass. And that puck will stay in the North Park zone, at least momentarily. Tenenbaum back for support. He'll stalk deeper in his own zone. Try and buy enough space to get the puck up and out. He does exactly that. Bouncing puck. Nearly to a North Park stick. It's Grebin touching it farther. Samosi in. Nearly pulled that pass off a stick. Instead, here comes Genesis in a 3-on-2 in the other direction. It's a pass that connects in the slot. Shot goes high over the cage. And now North Park scrambles to get the puck up and out. They do. It'll go for an icing. Well, icing already waved here. Interesting. The netminder for Genesis had his arm up. The official at the far end of the ice had his arm up and then washed it at the last second. And so it's Genesis resetting at the logo all the way into the offensive end, looking for that slot pass. It was cut out by Finkelstein, and then Keyworth able to get that puck up and out as Klocek bats it forward, but it was just out of the reach of Vigliotti. So with 8:04 left to go in this first half, it's a defensive zone draw upcoming for North Park. Now Genesis really trying to tilt the ice here. It's been North Park striking on the counter, essentially. But Genesis with a lot of offensive zone time and trying to tip the ice far enough to have one end up hitting the twine of the visitors. It's now a tipped puck that goes all the way down into the Genesis end. Vigliotti on his man there, trying to separate him from the puck. Softly nudges it off, and it's Genesis sending it to the far corner. Meller first to that puck, able to keep it in the zone. He kicks it to Vigliotti at that far side. Vigliotti upended, gets right back up, gets on the puck. Finkelstein awaits out front, tries to filter it to him, goes off the side of the cage. Genesis now grinding to get this puck up and out, but it rolls up to Meller, does the puck. Meller goes past a man. He was looking far side of the ice for the pass. Genesis first to it. 2-on-2 for the home team. Back in the other direction. Genesis looking for that slot pass, and it was Klocek able to intercept and send that puck to far side It's not out just yet as Genesis has it back. They stalk right back into the offensive end. They shoot in. Bickoff throws the glove out, makes the save and the freeze. And so with 7:03 left to play in this first half, it's another one in the glove for Bickoff and another defensive zone draw here for North Park. Tanoff, Tenenbaum, Samosi, Sweeney, and Halpern as the 5 skaters on the ice for the men in the blue and the green. It's Tenenbaum now at the dot. And it will be Tenenbaum ejected from the dot as North Park adjudged to have entered the circle a little too early. In any event, Genesis now able to take that face-off win, work it up to the near point. They're looking for a deflection in front of Bickoff. Instead, the pass goes wide, and so Sweeney able to work it up to Samosi. Samosi trying to carry it farther. He gets a call this time on a hook and shakes the hand off after the stick was wrapped around his wrist. But North Park up a goal, about to be up a man here with 6:47 left to go in this first half. It'll be a near side faceoff in the Genesis zone. And North Park, which has done so well on the power play of late, will look to try and double their lead here in the first half. This is Meller at the dot. Clean win to Tenenbaum. Up to Halpern. Back down to Tenenbaum. Tenenbaum with the puck. Works it up to Halpern. Trying to free up Keyworth far side of the ice. They do. Drop pass over to Halpern. Halpern on the forehand. Fires in. It's kicked aside by the Genesis netminder. Tenenbaum takes that return pass from Keyworth and returns the favor. Keyworth side of the cage trying to filter it on over was North Park, but Genesis is going to take over. They'll skate this up and out of their zone. Will the home team all the way into the offensive end. It was Halpern, though, able to cut out that pass and work it up for Grebin. Grebin at the logo. All the way into the offensive end goes the old number 14. Grebin now behind the cage. Self-pass to the near corner. It's Grebin. He gets upended there, and Meller fires in for support, but Genesis able to send that all the way down to the other end of the ice. 1:05 left to go on the man advantage as Bickoff moves that puck to the near side of the ice. Tenenbaum picks up there. It's Genesis with a more aggressive penalty kill than we've seen in weeks past, and so this is Tenenbaum all the way across into the offensive end. He's a zone entry machine, is Peyton Tenenbaum, as Grebin fires that all the way across. One-timer. Oh, boy, it looked like Keyworth was in there. Shot was saved, though, and flicked all the way down, as this will be Bickoff to settle for Halpern. It's Halpern up to Grebin. He's got a man on him. A quick up. Can't connect there for North Park. Puck will go for an icing with 28 seconds left to go on the man advantage. 5:15 left to go in this first half. North Park with a very good look on the one-timer. But the Genesis netminder gets enough of that puck to keep it from going into the back of the net. Now, face-off won there by North Park, sent all the way around to the far side of the ice and out of the North Park zone. Fired right back in by Genesis. As a reminder, no icing on the penalty kill anymore, and so Genesis content to dump that puck all the way down the ice each time they get possession. It's North Park now trying to get up and out of their zone. That one's fired wide of the cage by Genesis. Tanoff back to pick it up. 5-on-5 hockey once again. Genesis has killed off the penalty. It's Samosi tracking back for the puck in his own end, and he's able to saucer that up to Tanoff. Tanoff stalks forward with it. Tanoff upended by 2 men, but works it up to Finkelstein, and now it's North Park trying to get that puck farther. Finkelstein does exactly that. It's Samosi trying to chase it down. Puck comes all the way around to the far point, kept in nicely by Halpern. Halpern fires that in front. It's kicked aside by the Genesis goaltender, and that puck sent up and out of the zone. No, Samosi kept it in the glove, fires in a shot, and it's kicked aside once more by Genesis. It's North Park getting wise to the Genesis early zone exits. Every time there's a save in the Genesis end and they get possession of the puck, they are looking up ice. Is the Genesis team for that old 2-line pass to break into the North Park zone in what they hope is an odd man rush. 3:47 left to go in this first half. And it is Genesis emerging with the puck in their own end. Carry it up to the blue line, but no farther. Grebin on the puck, shoots in. That shot's blocked. And now it's Genesis trying to get out of their own end once more. Bouncing puck. Kept by Sweeney in the zone. Fired to some open ice in the near corner. Tenenbaum stands up his man in that corner. And now it's North Park taking over possession. Sweeney toward the slot. Tanoff gets that bouncing puck, fires in. And it's going to be gloved and frozen by the Genesis netminder. And so, with 3:14 left to go here in the first half, offensive zone draw upcoming for North Park. Well, near 12 o'clock here on the East Coast. And this will be Meller, Keyworth, Sweeney, Grebin, and Klochek out there as the five skaters in blue. Meller at the dot. Clean win over towards Sweeney. Tries to send it up to the point, but Genesis on top of him immediately. And they'll throw it to some open ice in the offensive end. Klochek works that off the linesman's skates. North Park with a couple of complaints about the linesman being in the way of any zone exit lately. One-timer all the way across, shot and scored. Al Bickoff had gotten post to post there, and it just found the smallest of openings. It looked like Bickoff had made the save initially. But it's Genesis striking back with 2:59 left to go in this first half. And so it's all knotted up at one here from Hatfield. And we'll see what kind of pushback Genesis has here. Now Bickoff just with an equipment problem, looks like on the far side of the ice. He gets it adjusted, comes right back out to the net. And so just a minor delay there, as it'll be Tenenbaum at the logo. Clean win up to Vigliotti. Back to Klochek, who finds Keyworth and returns the pass. It's North Park able to chip that puck up, but it ends up in the Genesis bench, and so expect a center ice drop here with 2:48 left to go in this first half. Folks, a reminder, because this is an EJEPL game, there will be an ice cut at halftime, which means you'll get 10 minutes of royalty-free music and a Zamboni on the ice. But don't touch that dial. We'll be back for 25 more game minutes after that ice cut. It's Vigliotti now feathering it to himself, shooting in, and the shot kicked aside. Bouncing puck nearly comes out in front. Instead, sent over to the corner by Genesis. Now up to the point by North Park. Shot in once more, and this will be flipped around by Vigliotti. Nearly had his second there. Samosi to retrieve and sends it deeper for Vigliotti. Vigliotti feathers that in front. And so a two-shot sequence there for North Park, as they'll have to reset at center ice. Klochek able to bat that into the offensive end, but without possession. And now it'll be Genesis near side of the ice, sending it all the way across the logo and now into the offensive end. Shot in. Bickoff with a nice save as that one came up into the chest protector. He was able to work it down into the glove. And it'll be a defensive zone drop for North Park. Well, Grebin, Tenenbaum, Meller, Finkelstein, and Halpern as the five skaters on the ice for the visitors. This is Meller at the dot. Clean win over to Tanoff. Tanoff works it around the curved glass, and it was Grebin who was looking to leave the zone for a breakaway, but the puck got slowed down by the dasher, and so it's Finkelstein trying to get body position to protect the puck. Works it up to Tanoff. Tanoff finds Meller, who finds Grebin. Grebin one-on-one with his man. Good stick work, though, by the Genesis man to cut out the threat. Grebin dumps in. Meller first to it. Near side of the ice. Throws it all the way across. It'll be Halpern picking up at the far point. Feathers it on down toward Grebin. And Grebin throws it toward the slot. Genesis first there. They're able to get this puck up and out of the zone with 90 seconds left to play in this first half. Grebin with a man on him. In front of his net. He's able to work it back to Halpern. Halpern up to Meller, and Genesis will come back in the other direction. It's Genesis now into the offensive end, setting up a shot. They shoot and they score. Well, Genesis with a laser into the top corner from the far side of the ice. And sometimes there's nothing you can do with a great shot, and that's exactly what it was there. And so, in the span of a few minutes, Genesis able to take the lead from North Park. And it's North Park now looking up at a 1-goal deficit with 1:13 left to go in this first half. It's Tenenbaum at the logo. Works it up to Vigliotti. Vigliotti stalks forward with the puck. Nearly goes around him and leaves the puck in the slot for Tenenbaum there. Genesis surrounds the puck, but it's kept in by Samosi, who kicks it to himself. He can't touch it on the delayed offside. Genesis curls back with it. Works it over to the near side of the ice. Touched farther by Tenenbaum. Vigliotti, a nice pass for Samosi. Samosi filters that puck in front. He gets hauled down. Puck still sits in front. It's in. It's Vigliotti who scores. Well, they say go to the net and good things will happen, and that is exactly what happened there. It was a scramble and a scrum in front of the net, but it was Vigliotti emerging with the goal on the score sheet. And so right now it's Genesis 2, Vigliotti 2 here from Colmar, PA, with 45.2 seconds left to go. Genesis upset that the net had come off in their mind before the puck had crossed the line. The officials, though, right on top of it. And as we often say, the only thing that counts are the opinions of the folks wearing stripes out there on the ice. And the puck's dropped. It will be North Park. Vigliotti up for Tenenbaum. Back to Vigliotti, who carries it into the offensive end. Puck ping-pongs around a bit. Players go flying everywhere. It was a long reach of Keyworth to keep the puck in the zone. And now Genesis carrying that puck forward. This is going to be a penalty here on North Park as soon as they're able to touch up. Genesis all alone in front. Bickoff with a huge save. And Keyworth able to touch up. And we'll see who's going to end up going to the box on this one as the arm was raised. Looks like it will be Vigliotti, so a couple of goals and a penalty to his name now with 21.1 seconds left to go in this first half. It'll be North Park to the penalty kill. And, of course, if nothing happens in the next 21 seconds, the penalty will carry over to the second half. But that will give North Park's penalty killers a break at halftime. It's Miller at the dot. One back by Genesis. Trying to set up a shot, but look out. Here comes Grebin on the penalty kill. He finds Miller. Now Keyworth in full flight. Keyworth in the corner. Shovels it out front. And it's gobbled up as we get a couple of jabs on Miller in front. Miller hadn't done anything here as he took a couple of clips to the skate and a cross check, but the officials immediately skate in. And so it looks like it's just going to be a firm word or talking to with the Genesis team about the after action. 7 seconds, 7.7 I should say, left to go here at face-off one forward. It's Miller who had stalked in, but it was covered up first by the Genesis netminder, and somehow 3 seconds went off the board on that face-off. It's now Miller at the dot once more. Puck is chipped up to the point here and out by Genesis. There goes the buzzer. So after one, it's North Park 2, Genesis 2, 1:39 left to go on the penalty kill for North Park. We'll be back after the ice cut. This is Midnight Sports.
Hockey fans.
right, just getting set here in a moment for the second half to kick off of game one of this Hatfield Ice doubleheader, but it's game two of a Midnight Sports tripleheader as the New York Stars earlier today took on the Nassau County Lions. And so it's North Park looking at a 2-2 tie right now. After the first half, they'll be on the penalty kill for the next minute and 39 seconds. And the story of the first half was Lorenzo Vigliotti and Bo Bickoff, as Genesis with some grade A chances that Bickoff rejected. And Vigliotti with 2 goals in the first half, but now in the penalty box for the next minute and 39 seconds. And so call it the Vigliotti game thus far. We'll see what the second half has for us. Remember, it's an EJEPL Diamond 2 game, which means if we're still knotted up at the end of this second half, we'll have 4-on-4 sudden death overtime for 5 minutes. And if still knotted up after that, 3-on-3 sudden death overtime. Reminder, because this is a Hatfield Ice 2-gamer, the second game is at 3 p.m. today. It'll be right here on Midnight Sports. And we'll bring you all the action. It'll be at a different link, but you'll just have to refresh the Midnight Sports main page. It'll pop up for you right there at 3 p.m. In any event, we can't thank you enough for joining us. And we will get rolling here in just a moment. We'll go ahead and get that in-stadium sound on for you as well as the music gets cut off from the DJ in the scorer's booth. But as we said, Vigliotti 2 goals in the first half in the box for the next minute and 39 seconds. And North Park will surely have gone over strategy in the locker room on how to kill off the rest of this penalty. Their penalty killers fresh from the locker room. Of course, power play unit number 1 fresh for Genesis. And so we shall see which special teams unit prevails. It'll be Meller, Halpern, Finkelstein, and Tanoff as the 4 in blue sweaters to get us kicked off here in the second half. Teams do not switch sides in EJEPL games, at least during the first and second half. Sometimes they will in overtime to try and get a victor. In any event, it's North Park going left to right on your television screen or radio dial. 25 on the clock. Shots 17-12 in Genesis's favor on the board in the rink. 18-17 on our board in North Park's favor. And so we'll duke it out with the scorekeeper after this one to see whose shot count was more accurate. In any event, it is Genesis taking that face-off win, carrying it forward through their own zone, and then finding man in the neutral zone, but it was Tanoff who was able to cut out the threat. And so this is Genesis having to reset once more. 1:14 left to go on the man advantage for the home team as they come through the neutral zone. It's Meller, long reach, able to take the puck off a stick, wiping out the linesman. Was the Genesis forward breaking into the zone, but it's Genesis with the puck again, now at the offensive blue line. Genesis this time breaks in just a bit offside with 24:17 left to go here in the second half. 57 seconds left to go on the penalty to North Park, and a neutral zone drop upcoming just in front of the North Park bench. This is Tenenbaum at the dot, far side of the ice. Grebin to his right, Klocek to his left. Back is Keyworth as the lone defender current. Grebin now trying to pull that puck forward into the offensive end. Rolling puck, chipped forward on net, kicked aside, comes back out to North Park, fired in and saved. And so count it as a couple of shots on goal for the visitors there. It was a hardy forecheck by North Park that saw that puck end up in the Genesis blue paint, but it was covered up well by the Genesis netminder on the shorthanded chances for North Park. In any event, it's Tenenbaum on the faceoff. Genesis able to work it up to the near side of the ice. They break into the offensive end, but back across was Keyworth to pick the pocket of his man and throw that puck up to the far half wall. It's North Park trying to swipe it farther. Klocek for Grebin for Keyworth. Keyworth rounds his man toward the front of the net. He tries the short side, and it was rejected by the Genesis goaltender, and onward we play as Tenenbaum tries to chip it farther. 10 seconds left to go on the man advantage as that puck sits at the far half wall. It's kicked farther by Genesis, but picked up by Grebin, who fires in. It hits a shin guard. Ensuing shot saved nicely off the stick of Tenenbaum. It's 5-on-5 hockey here as the visitors have killed off the penalty. Shot in on Bickoff, and he makes a save. Just a little bit of jousting there in front of the North Park net. We'll see if the officials remind the players they're going to take one from each side perhaps here soon, as the temperature rising just a little bit in rink after North Park has killed off the penalty. 23-13 left to go in this second half. Knotted up at 2. It'll be Meller at the dot. Wins that toward the linesman's skates, who's stuck there with all the players around him. It's Tanoff and Halpern combining to get that puck to the end boards, and then Tanoff gets the puck back, filters it up towards Samosi. Samosi able to break out toward Finkelstein. Joined by Meller now on the forecheck is Finkelstein. Genesis takes over at their own blue line. They work it up strong side of the ice. Tanoff gets stick on puck. Genesis will dump on in, far side. Filtered out toward Bickoff, who's just going to throw the big glove over it. Cover it up with 22:45 left to go in this second half. It'll be a far side faceoff in the North Park zone. Same five will stay out there for North Park, as it's Tanoff and Halpern as the defensive pair. Bickoff with the save. Halpern works it over to Samosi. Samosi on the puck, flips that up to the blue line, but it's Genesis on the puck. It's Bickoff with the big blocker, and he's able to push the puck aside. It's now Tanoff working it over to Halpern. Halpern on the puck in his own end. Tries to filter it up toward Finkelstein. Eventually does. Quick up for Samosi. Samosi has that puck into the offensive end where Genesis will take over. It's Genesis back in the other direction, all the way toward the side of the cage. Pushed wide there by Tanoff. Halpern gets his stick down to prevent a slot pass. Centering pass now comes in to the slot, but first to it is Grebin all the way across, and then Samosi able to free that puck out of the defensive zone. Genesis dumps right back in. It's Meller on the puck in his own corner. Works it over for Halpern. Halpern on up. He's looking for Grebin, who finds Samosi. Samosi carries it across the logo and leaves for Grebin. Grebin with some speed into the offensive end. Shoots in just high of the cage on a deflection. This will be North Park trying to keep that puck in the zone. Unable to do so. Keyworth back for Klocek. Klocek works it up far side of the ice. Genesis takes over, but only so far as Tenenbaum, who's in one-on-one. It's a 2-on-1 now as North Park comes in and touches it home. Well, it was North Park through Grebin, who was able to score on the Tenenbaum pass. And just like that, it's North Park 3, Genesis 2. Well, the stat heads will tell you there's no such thing as momentum when it comes to chances, but this old commentator might say that killing off the North Park penalty led to North Park finding some juice in the legs and the back of the net to reestablish a one-goal lead with just over 21 minutes left to play here in Colmar, PA. It's Tenenbaum in front of his own blue line, wins it over to Vigliotti. Vigliotti walks his own blue line, carries it through the center of the rink, takes a hit, but he's worked it over to Tenenbaum, who dumps in for Sweeney. Sweeney throws that across the slot. It misses a couple of sticks. It'll be Genesis emerging with it. Genesis back in the other direction. Klocek turns his man at the far half wall, and then Tenenbaum back for support. It's North Park trying to flick that puck up and out. They do. It's Vigliotti and Sweeney all the way into the offensive end. It's the Hardways line now. All the way across the blue paint goes that puck. Coming all the way in from off the bench was Halpern. He finds Keyworth, who sends that on net. Puck still loose in front, and it was a couple of saves there by Genesis that prevented the goal. Sweeney filters it across for Tenenbaum. Tight angle shot, saved once more. Sweeney keeps the puck in the zone. He shoveled it forward. Genesis trying to get that puck up and out. We get a hooking call, though, on the home team. And so It's North Park up a goal and about to be up a man for the next 2 minutes here at Hatfield Ice, assuming no farther paperwork gets done. In the sequence, it'll be Meller, Tenenbaum, Grebben, Halpern, and Keyworth as power play unit, the numero uno for North Park. It's Midnight Sports now in Espanol. Meller at the dot, trying to win that back to the blue line. Puck is going to leave the zone, and so all the way across is Halpern. He shovels it on over to Tenenbaum, who finds Keyworth far side of the ice. Keyworth looking to build up some speed at center ice. He does. Enters the zone. Leaves for Meller. Sends it to Halpern and now Tenenbaum. Tenenbaum slapper. It's deflected to the near half wall. And so he's able to rack that deeper for Grebben. Grebben far side of the ice all the way across. He was looking for Tenenbaum, but it was good stick work by Genesis to get that puck up and out. It's Halpern shoveling it over for Tenenbaum, near side of the defensive zone. Tenenbaum across for Halpern once more. Halpern surveys his options and filters a puck up to Tenenbaum. Threaded the needle there as Tenenbaum carries it into the offensive end. Tenenbaum now on the puck, looking for a trailer in. Grebben keeps the puck as there was no passing lane. It's Tenenbaum still on the puck. Up to Halpern now. All the way across that puck goes for Grebben. Grebben up to Tenenbaum. He gets handcuffed by the pass. 57 seconds left to go as North Park has to reset in the neutral zone. Keyworth, drop pass up for Meller. Well, a backhanded pass. Meller with the reverse hit on the puck. Boy, oh boy, did he upend a man who won't let go of his skate, but the officials not going to call that as Genesis is already on the penalty kill. It's a quick up for Meller, near side of the ice, who runs into a man there. Genesis looks to take over. Keyworth lays the wood on the man who took out Meller, but it's Genesis emerging with it. 26 seconds left to go as that shot comes in and deflected up into the netting by Bickoff on the save. And so we'll get a defensive zone draw here for North Park. As the hitting has picked up, it's Genesis. Got 24 more seconds to kill on the hooking call against them. It's going to be a far circle faceoff in the North Park zone. This is Finkelstein at the dot. One there by Genesis, fired in by Bickoff. Makes the glove save. We'll do it all over again as 3 seconds went off the board. Now we get a foul drop, and so we'll see if any player is ejected. Looks like it'll stay as Finkelstein. Genesis wins that faceoff, but all the way through the offensive zone, and they'll have to track back to their own end for it. It's Finkelstein and Bigliotti on the forecheck. Finkelstein able to pull that puck off the boards momentarily. It comes up to Tanoff, who fires in off a shin guard. It goes to the far corner, does the puck. It's back to 5-on-5 hockey here from Hatfield Ice. Genesis stalks forward with the puck through the neutral zone. They'll dump on in. Genesis on the puck at the end boards, trying to throw something out front is the home team. They work it up to the near point, but it's Samosi now in a break into the offensive end. Rafi Samosi all the way across. He was looking for Vigliotti, who pass was cut out by a defender. Vigliotti shoots and scores anyway. Well, it was Vigliotti who gets himself a hat trick. It was the Samosi pass that looked picture perfect, but a sliding defender for Genesis had cut out the chance, and you thought the chance was over for North Park. Instead, Vigliotti picks up the puck, spins around, beats the Genesis netminder on a wicked wrister, and just like that, North Park has doubled its lead. All of a sudden, it's North Park 4. Genesis 2. Well, 17:50 left to go here from Colmar, PA, in game one of this North Park doubleheader. And it's Halpern firing that puck up the wall, but it ends up bouncing into his bench. And so it'll be a defensive zone draw here for North Park. Well, no hats thrown on the ice for Vigliotti there. In part because there's still a lot of game left to play, and in part because there is a net in front of the ice. And so he'll have to wait for his plaudits until this one is over. In any event, it's Genesis trying to fire in. Puck takes a deflection, and now it's Sweeney picking up that puck, getting it up and out of the zone. Genesis resets. Grebin had wanted the home run pass, but there was no lane, it looked like, for North Park, and so trying to be conservative with the puck are the visitors right now as Halpern breaks out of his own end. He finds Sweeney. Sweeney picks it up and carries it through the neutral zone, passes it over to Meller. Meller into the offensive end, shooting in high and wide of the cage. It will be Grebin trying to dig that puck off the half wall. Sweeney bats it farther through the slot. Genesis will emerge with it. It's Genesis on the puck all the way through the neutral zone. They fire in. Bickoff able to freeze that puck. He takes a slash there, and Halpern has something to say to the Genesis man who slashed Bickoff. And now all North Park skaters on the ice, happy to let everyone know on the ice not to harass their netminder, and so a couple of players still going at it on that far side of the ice as the officials try to separate them. And surely there'll be some paperwork getting done here as it's Meller and a Genesis man with some words for each other. And Meller fears no one out there on the ice. The Genesis man, he's giving up a foot two and probably 6 or 7 inches of reach. And still, Meller hot under the collar out there, and he should be after the slash on his netminder. And so we'll see what the official explanation is here. Over at the scorer's table, probably a lot of paperwork to be done on this one. It was North Park trying to keep their netminder safe after Genesis had shot in and Bickoff had frozen the puck. He took a slash to the wrist, and North Park took exception to the slash, and so we have a bit of a delay here as the officials trying to figure out just who to punish for all of the action after the play. Well, we'll get you reset here. It's a Vigliotti hat trick, and I believe a Grebin goal that gave North Park 4 on the scoreboard. A couple for Genesis as well. This was a 2-2 hockey game. Entering halftime, it was a scramble in front of the net that led to that second North Park goal to tie it up just before halftime. And North Park has come out firing here in the second half. And so the officials still explaining things on the far side. We'll try to zoom in for you with the net. It makes it a little bit difficult. Let's see if we can get that focused for you. But unfortunately, it's a little bit like when I go to the eye doctor. If we zoom in too far, 1 or 2, which one's better? How about 3? None of them are particularly good. In any event, still an explanation being given. Looks like could have a situation where some players are being ejected as they may be heading toward the locker room, and so we'll see. But some nifty stick work there by Keyworth at center ice to continue catching the puck on his stick, and so get treated to a trick move there while you're waiting for all the paperwork to be set and done. Perhaps it was a Meller goal. We'll look up the score sheet. You see, you don't want to call it wrong and take anything away from these North Park goal scorers. And so we'll get you updated on exactly what's going on the game sheet here. It is a 4-2 hockey game with goals scored. Yes, indeed. It was Vigliotti and Grebin in the first half. Vigliotti with 2 in the second half to complete the hat trick. But still a lot of time left in this hockey game. 16:58 left to go. As just one Genesis man right now in the penalty box. as the officials try to figure out who is going to go to the box for each team. Home team has a 2-minute penalty put up on the board, presumably for the initial slash. But it might take a team of lawyers to figure this one out after all of the action behind the play. Most importantly, Bickoff up, skating around, seems no worse for the wear after taking one to the wrist. And the Genesis fans getting a little bit restless now as the game's been stopped for 3 or 4 minutes to try to fill out all the paperwork. And as someone who's done that paperwork in the past, I can tell you it's not the easiest thing in the world. All right. There is Sweeney, it looks like, in the box for North Park, but a 2-minute penalty put on the board for Genesis. And so we'll see if Sweeney perhaps got a 2 and 10 or just a 2-minute that's offset by some other 2-minute penalty for Genesis. And Genesis ends up down a man, taking 2 penalties on the play. Time will tell on this one. Doesn't look like anyone has had to leave the ice for North Park. At first, a Genesis man was being sent off the ice. In any event, it's 5 skaters for North Park, 4 skaters for Genesis. 2 minutes on the board for the penalty to Genesis. And we should be able to play some hockey here pretty soon with 16:58 left to go in this second half. It's Meller at the dot. And Genesis kicks that puck up to the blue line, but Tenenbaum keeps the zone. It's Halpern down for Keyworth. Keyworth stops, works the puck all the way across the bumper in. Grebin, who fires in. It hits a shin guard. Puck still loose in front. Now fired up and out by Genesis all the way on frame. And so Bickoff makes the save, and onward we play here as we get set for Genesis to try to get that puck on net. Instead, it's North Park able to repossess it and send the puck over to Halpern from Tenenbaum. It's now Halpern on up. He finds Meller. Meller leaves for Grebin. Grebin into the offensive end. It's Grebin trying to set up shop there. He'll dump it just a bit deeper for Keyworth. And Genesis works it up to the blue line. Not out just yet. Settled by Halpern all the way across. It was Keyworth on the backhand who deflected it just wide. It's now Tenenbaum sending that wide of the cage. Halpern to pick up at the far point. He tucks that puck deeper for Meller. Meller all the way across. He was looking for Grebin for a one-timer just out of his reach. Grebin able to keep possession of the puck. Works it down for Keyworth. Keyworth reverses on over for Grebin. Out front it comes. It's shot and scored. Well, it's Meller leading the flyby line, so gotta assume it's his goal on the power play there. Tucked home at the far end of the ice. And so they'll tell you, of course, the best revenge is to score on the power play after you feel like your team has been roughed up, and that's exactly what North Park did with 15:42 remaining to go in this second half. 5-on-5 hockey here. North Park with a 3-goal lead. It's Samosi tracking the puck down, stalking into the offensive end, goes to the end boards, and throws it out front. It's sticked aside by the Genesis goaltender. And now this will be North Park able to dump that puck just a bit farther. It goes wide of the cage. Netminder without his stick at the Genesis end. Puck filtered around to the end boards once more. Thrown out in front, and it'll be Genesis with the puck, and they're able to get that up and out. Klocek settles it down for Vigliotti. Vigliotti in his own end, spins it off the sidewall here, and Finkelstein able to throw that up and out. Samosi joined by Keyworth on the rush. It's Samosi carrying it toward the corner. Still without his stick is the Genesis netminder, pumped up to Klocek, across for Vigliotti. Vigliotti on the puck, is able to dangle past a man, passes it to himself, shoots in. Feeling himself out there is number 88 as he works it up to Keyworth. Shot goes high of the cage. It's Samosi now, picking it up far end of the ice. He takes a hit. Genesis will emerge with the puck. Across was Vigliotti to separate his man from the puck. It's Keyworth trying to send that point-to-point for Klochek. Genesis gets on the puck, but they can't get the shot off. It's back-checking, and now they do get the shot off, but Bickoff with the save. Genesis all the way across to the slot. Fired in, Bickoff with a huge save, and it's Finkelstein now trying to get that puck up and down. Bigliotti has the puck in front of his own team, and his bench, I should say. He works it back to Klochek. Klochek fires that puck on up. It's Genesis firing in once more. That shot goes wide of the cage. Genesis to pick up at the end boards. A push here from the home team, cut out by Keyworth, who's going to skate this up and out of his zone. It's Keyworth with speed up the right wing. Joined on the far side. It's a shot pass, and score by Grabbit. Well, it was the Keyworth shot. He knew Grebin was going back post. He shot it low off the far leg pad of the Genesis netminder, and just like that, Grebin able to touch it home, and it's a 6-2 hockey game here in North Park's favor from Colmar, PA. Now it's Tenenbaum at the dot. Miller to his right, Grebin to his left. It's Halpern who takes the face-off win, goes point-to-point for Tanoff. Tanoff works the puck forward for Meller. Meller across for Tenenbaum. Tenenbaum on the puck, tries to send it over toward Grebin. It's Tanoff taking the shot, and it's loose in front. Fired on net once more. It's a 5-bell save. Holy moly, from the Genesis netminder on the 3-shot sequence. It's Genesis sending that all the way down for an icing to relieve some of that North Park pressure. It was a huge save from the Genesis goaltender, though, to cut out the North Park threat there at the last moment. Still some conversations between the players on the far side of the ice. Not sure what happened there. We were too busy praising the Genesis goalie. And so it's North Park apparently reminding Genesis what the score is, as there continues to be some conversation between all the players. The officials have had enough of it, and so we'll see if anyone's going to go to the box on this one. It's Meller in the middle of it, as North Park tries to protect their own out there. Genesis unhappy with what had happened behind the play. We didn't see it from up here. And so I'm assuming just some words exchanged between the players, but the officials took one from each box, and now the officials explaining the calls to each bench. And perhaps Tenenbaum, the alternate captain out there, gets the explanation first on the ice. And so it's going to be 5-on-5 hockey. Coincidental Miners at 13:27 left to go in the second half. And boy, if you like paperwork, this is the game for you. Who cares about trees anyway? Am I right? It's Samosi now at the center dot. He's got Tanoff and Halpern behind him. Still an explanation ongoing at the Genesis bench. Gotta assume we are in for a feisty game this afternoon. These two teams will have all of an hour and a half or so off between games. Tanoff shot in. That's kicked aside by the Genesis netminder, but it was Samosi on the back check. He gets the return pass from Sweeney, and now it's North Park trying to set something up once again. Fired in front. Puck misses all sticks, so tracking all the way back is Halpern for the puck. Halpern on up for Sweeney. Sweeney on the puck, has it hop off a stick, and Genesis will break back in, but only so far as Halpern. It's Halpern. He gets tripped up, and he stays down after the knee-on-knee collision. And this is a very hard hit by Genesis. It was Halpern who took a knee-on-knee hit there, and you can tell how upset North Park is about the hit. And so we'll pause here for a second as Halpern is seen to on the ice. Well, the whistle went immediately after the hit, but hockey players will tell you, you hope that this sort of hit was an accident, because when it's intentional, it certainly has the ability to severely injure someone's knee. And I don't want to speculate on this particular injury on the ice. It's just a dangerous play as one player can dangle a leg out. Halpern now sitting up on the ice, being helped up by Coach Raynar. And so Halpern going to get some support getting off the ice from his teammates. And he'll head over to the North Park bench. And so good to see him back up and able to head off the ice with a little help from his teammates. He'll be looked to on that far side of the ice. But of course, the safety of the players paramount. And you can see what the officials thought of that. They called a major on Genesis for the knee-on-knee hit. And as we were discussing, that's just how dangerous that play is, that it would be adjudged to be a major for the dangling leg. And so the officials saw it as intentional. With 12:54 left to go in this second half, it's a 5-minute major against Genesis. And so we will see. The Genesis fans don't like it, asking why a trip is a 5-minute penalty, but it was knee-on-knee contact, and the officials thought it was intentional. And so Genesis fans not happy with how this game is going. Understandably, down 4 goals here in the second half. But of course, the safety of the players absolutely paramount out there. And so we'll see still some more conversation over at the North Park bench as this delay continues. And it looks like we're going to get a stoppage here because they had dropped the puck, but still some conversation at the North Park bench with the other official. And so this is Halpern working his way across the ice over toward the locker room as Vigliotti's opened the door for him. So that is unfortunate. You don't want to see Halpern having to head to the locker room here. And so our thoughts up in the broadcasting booth with him as he heads on over to the locker room after the hit on the ice. And so we'll keep you updated as best we can on the injury. It's an offensive zone draw for North Park. A little of the air out of the building now, though, after the injury timeout. It's North Park filtering a puck all the way to the far side. And Keyworth picks up there. Keyworth has Tenenbaum, top of the blue line. He finds him, filtered in, deflected wide off a Klocek skate. And now it's a hit in the corner. North Park has to be careful. These officials are going to call anything out there that they can to try and take the temperature of this game down. Genesis all the way across, but it was good stick work by Tenenbaum to cut out the pass, and now Samosi able to get the puck up and out of the zone. Genesis pours right back in. It's Genesis on the puck, side of the cage, and they're all alone in the offensive zone is Genesis, so they just dump it a bit deeper. It's Tenenbaum on the puck, works it on up to the neutral zone. Genesis has to wait, though, for the clearance, and now Genesis pushed just wide of the cage. 4:04 left to go on the major against the home team on the kneeing call. It's Tenenbaum trying to separate his man from the puck. He does. Grebin picks up near side of the defensive zone. Grebin can skate this up and out of the defensive zone. All the way across center ice he goes. Gains the offensive end. Puck sits in the slot. It'll be picked up by Tenenbaum. Slapper in. Hits a stick. Deflected to the near corner. Grebin on the puck. Throws it all the way across. He's going to find Keyworth. Far side. Shot and scored. It was a Keyworth goal on the major, which of course does not get wiped off the board. And Keyworth had stalked in from that far half wall And so with 11:31 left to go in this second half, there's still 3:37 left to go on the man advantage here for North Park. And just some questions between the scorekeeper and the official, and so we get a farther delay in this game as that discussion continues. And so time enough to remind you, of course, that we've got another game for this doubleheader. It's at 3 p.m. right here between North Park and Genesis, and given the way this game has gone, you can expect that one to be hotly contested, to say the least. It's now Vigliotti tight in on the cage. Puck spilled in front. It was kicked out by the Genesis goaltender, and so all the way back is Klochek to cut out the threat, and he'll pick up the puck on a quick up. He's going to find Sweeney up the right wing. Sweeney into the offensive end, thrown across, and gloved down by the Genesis netminder, and so we get a stoppage in play with 11 minutes even left to go in this second half. It'll be Vigliotti, Tanoff, Samosi, Tenenbaum. Well, let's see. Vigliotti going to leave the ice with Finkelstein. And this will be Grebin, Tanoff, Tenenbaum, Samosi, and Keyworth as the power play unit. 3:07 left to go in the man advantage. And it's Genesis trying to merge with the puck at the dot. It's swiped farther, though, by Samosi, who reverses it up to Tenenbaum, who finds Grebin. Grebin fires that across. He was looking for a side net deflection shot and scored. Now it was Keyworth once again on the far side of the ice, trying to make Genesis pay for the hit on Halpern. And how? It's North Park, excuse me. Words aren't coming as easily right now, given the concern for Halpern in the locker room. But it's North Park scoring once again on the major penalty. 10:48 left to go in this game. North Park 8, Genesis 2. Still 2:45 left to go in the man advantage for the visitors. It's Grebin all the way into the offensive zone. Cut out by Genesis there. Look out. This could be a break. It was Genesis unable to settle the puck. Keyworth is tracked back for it. Now enters the offensive end. Goes to the far half wall on the forehand. Tries again. Would have been a natural hat trick for the captain there had he scored. But we're getting the clock running now with a 6-goal lead, and so we'll just keep our eye on that as we're down to 10:13 left to go in this second half. 6-goal lead in an EJ second half. Sometimes the teams will run the clock. And so, as long as you have permission from both benches, I suppose, no harm, no foul. It's Grebin working that puck deeper for Keyworth. Nearly goes around a man, but it's Grebin able to keep the puck in the zone. Now Tannenbaum fires in. That puck saved by the Genesis goaltender, and we will have another offensive zone draw for North Park. All right, puck dropped. It's North Park retaining possession behind the net. It was a shot in, and it was saved by Genesis, and now it's a puck that's found by Tanoff. It comes out of the zone, so Grebin will collect and reset at the logo. Genesis cuts out the threat as North Park comes all the way across the blue line once more. Just some jousting at the blue line now as Genesis comes away with the puck. It's a mini break for Genesis. All the way back was Finkelstein. Bickoff with a save and then two. And it's going to be a slash against North Park here. But Bickoff with two huge saves on the breakaway. Both the breakaway and the follow-up. And so, let's see. Looks like, in fact, Genesis is going to go to the box here for a slash. So, apologies to North Park there. Not a call on North Park. It's a call on Genesis. Hard to keep track of all the calls going up on the board, but it's 5-on-3. It's a running clock, and so the 5-on-3, of course, is going to tick off a little faster than it otherwise would. Sometimes places will stop the clock as they put the penalty up on the board, but with 8:07 left to go, it's 9 seconds of 5-on-3 action here for North Park, as that puck's going to come out of the offensive zone. Tanoff back for it, reaches for it. He's able to separate his man from the puck. 5-on-4 hockey here for North Park for the next running minute and 24 seconds. Tanoff into the offensive end. It's sent right back out by Genesis. And so back for it is Klochek. He's got Tenenbaum with him. Klochek surveys his options, leaves for Tanoff on the near side. Tanoff up for Meller, tries to send it farther. It's Genesis, though, who's going to send it on net. And Bickoff able to kick that aside for Klochek. Klochek behind his net, 56 seconds left to go on the man advantage. And it's Tenenbaum picking that puck up, stalking forward through the neutral zone into the offensive end. Puck's going to sit near side all the way across the slot it goes. Genesis first to it. Batted farther, though, by Meller, who looks to collect on that far half wall. It's 93 against 93 over on that far side of the ice. Meller able to retain possession, works to Tenenbaum. Tenenbaum finds Finkelstein, who shoots in. That's gloved aside, hits off the end boards. Meller back on the puck, spins it in front. Keyworth now on the puck, wristed in, and it's North Park still on the puck, trying to filter it farther. North Park through Keyworth on the puck once more, sending it all the way over to Klochek, far side, shot in, kicked aside once more by the Genesis goaltender. 11 seconds left to go on the man advantage for North Park. Klochek on the puck, sends it up to Keyworth at the blue line, just out of his reach. So we'll be back to 5-on-5 hockey here as North Park retains possession at the blue line. All the way across the logo, Keyworth comes into the offensive end. Keyworth, screen shot, hits a shin guard, goes up into the netting. And so this will be an offensive zone draw for North Park as the clock continues to tick on towards 6 minutes left to go in this game. It was a tight one for some time, but it was North Park that came out of the locker rooms at halftime, scored the first two, and in fact has scored the last 6 unanswered in this one. I guess it's 7 unanswered if you count the goal just before halftime as well. And so Genesis and a mini break in the opposite direction. Bickoff shuts the door, and he's able to cut out any rebound as Keyworth and Tanoff had come back to pick up the puck. Samosi now with a drop pass for Vigliotti. Nearly filtered past a man there, did Lorenzo Vigliotti. Instead, Genesis back in the other direction. Tanoff on the puck. That one goes for an icing. And if you're North Park, you don't mind the whistles in this game because the clock continues to tick even during stoppages in play. And so 5:03 running left to go in this second half. These two teams will meet again right here on Midnight Sports at 3 p.m. today. You won't want to miss that one after how this one has gone. It's Genesis still trying to get loose on the breakaway, but it'll be Samosi carrying that up to the blue line, and then Vigliotti settles for Klochek. Samosi into the offensive end, carries the puck farther there, and Vigliotti able to corral that puck and turn at the near dot. Vigliotti upended there, no arm raised, and onward we play. Genesis netminder without a stick now. As Genesis has possession, they'll flick it up through the air and out of the zone. Tracking all the way back is Tanoff, but Bickoff able to stick that aside. Now Genesis retains at the top of the circle. Still Genesis near side of the ice. Genesis there, rolling puck found by Grebin, and he's able to fire it up the near half wall for Samosi, who sends that across the blue line. 4:05 left to play here in the second half, game 1 from Colmar, PA. It's North Park in control. Vigliotti into the offensive end. He's got a man draped on him there. Genesis will look to get this puck out. They can't get past Grebin. It's Vigliotti dummying that puck, and then he takes a high hit right in front of the net. The officials right in on it. Vigliotti took a shot right to the face. The officials right on top of the call. Vigliotti skates over to the bench, gets a hand from his teammates for not retaliating. And so we'll see what happens here as the Genesis captain explaining what he was doing to the official at the penalty box. The official uninterested in the explanation. It's a roughing call against Genesis for the hit after the whistle. And so the paperwork continues here from Hatfield Ice. It's a man advantage for North Park, as Genesis needs to subtract one skater from the ice with 2:52 left to go in this game. Puck's dropped. Genesis able to fire that up and out. And so this will be Bickoff out from behind his cage to settle the puck for Keyworth. Keyworth on the puck behind the net. It's Keyworth now trying to get this puck up and out. He does. Finkelstein collects in the offensive end. All the way across that puck comes. Finkelstein side of the cage. Works it all the way across looking for a teammate. Did Finkelstein. It missed all sticks. And so Genesis on the puck through the neutral zone. They'll fire in. Bickoff makes sure to blocker that aside. It's Klocek sending it up and out of the defensive zone once more. A minute left to go on the man advantage for North Park, who's content to kill off this penalty against Genesis. Content to see this power play just tick off the board as this game needs to come to a merciful conclusion. It's now Genesis dumping in once more, and Klocek to pick up once again at the end boards. Keyworth, Sweeney, Tenenbaum, and Finkelstein as the 5 skaters out there. It's Finkelstein on the puck. He's able to avoid a hit. He sends that in on net, and so we'll get a stoppage in play as it's covered up by the Genesis netminder with 1:33 left to go here in Game 1 from Hatfield Ice. Well, folks, North Park back in action again next weekend, 6 p.m. Saturday at Aviator against the New York Stars, 7:30 p.m. all times Eastern against the New York City Cyclones on Sunday. And we hope you'll join us, subject to carrier restrictions, for both games. It's now Samosi on the puck. And the music continues to roll, as does the game. Here, fired in. It's gloved down. And Tanoff throws that through the blue paint. Still loose in the offensive zone, but it will be Genesis able to get that puck up and out. Bickoff made sure to get a stick on it so it doesn't go for icing, and we can keep playing here. North Park reverses on up for Keyworth. Keyworth on the puck, skates it across the hash marks and up to Grebin, up the right wing. Leaves for Samosi. Samosi able to tap it to himself off a skate, throws it farther in the offensive end. 30 seconds left to go as Genesis gets that puck up and out of the zone. All the way back for it is Tanoff, who sends that up and out. Delayed offside coming here, and Genesis is tagged up. So Keyworth back for it. 15 seconds left to go in Game 1. North Park just sends the puck up and out of the zone. Genesis dumps in once more. Grebin on the puck, tries to chip it farther. It goes off a shin guard. 5 seconds left to go, and that puck chopped up and out. It was Meller across for Keyworth, and that'll do it. Here from Hatfield Ice in Game 1, we've gone final. It's North Park 8, Genesis 2. We'll see ya in a couple of hours for Game 2. Until then, stay safe.